So this is a knitting series that I will be starting up with y'all step by step with all of the tools and guidelines that you will need to start up your knitting lifestyle, knitting goals, I guess you would say. So as you can see by the title, we'll be casting on and knitting. Those are the two steps we'll be following today. I will be using this chunky yarn. It's from Wool & Gang, but in my opinion, you can use any yarn that you have. You can use acrylic yarn that you like to, but I am using chunky yarn so you can see step by step of what I'm doing, so you won't like miss anything. I'm using also a bright color so you can see it clearly. Okay. Now also, we have two different style of needles. Now, these are the ones I had bought when I just started, and these hurt my hand. To be honest, I feel like everyone says that about these. Some people could use it, just not everybody. But honestly, anybody that you ask like what's the best knitting tools to get, circular needles, okay? Circular needles is going to be your best friend, okay? We love these. We love them a lot, okay? It can get you through a whole process without it hurting your hands and you being uncomfortable and you like trying to like move in a certain way just to like feel more comfortable when you're using these, okay? These are cool. It's cute to have. They're like, honestly, I would just use these as decorations, okay? So let's get started. Alright guys, so this is the yarn that I'm using once again. Now, I don't really like wrapping around the yarn like so. No. I love to pull from the center of the yarn. I go inside like just like this, and then I try to wiggle my way around, try to find the beginning of the yarn where it's like in the center where you can just continually pull out. And it's this part right here. You see how it's just gliding through so easily like that? I love doing that instead of just wrapping around the yarn. I feel like it just takes up too much of your time. So, I know I said in the beginning of this video, these are the worst knitting tools to use, but I'm only using this for the video purpose so you can see everything more clearly, okay? So, what I do next is you take some of the yarn that you have, you glide it down. Now, one thing about knitting is very technical, so when you're casting on, you have to make sure you pull enough yarn down to make sure you have enough yarn to cast on for the correct amount of stitches, okay? Now, it depends on the size that you're making, what exactly you're making, and things like that. It just depends on the pattern that you're following, but this is like, we're doing baby steps right now. So, what I do is I just take it from the top, like so, and I just pull down like that, just enough yarn that I might need. I wrap it around my hand. Let me do that over. You see, I'm just holding it like this. I'm wrapping it around my two fingers, and I let my two fingers down, and then you see this circle part? I put the yarn, the length of the yarn, the body of the yarn, and I just pull it through, and I just pull down like a knot, like that, okay? And then I take my knitting tool, I put it through, pull down like so, okay? So this is going to count as your first cast on stitch, okay? Now, the next step is going to be, you see, I'm going to wrap it around my thumb. You see like this opening here, that opening right there. I'm going to put the needle through that part, and then I'm going to take the yarn, the body of the yarn. Can you see that? The body of the yarn, I'm going to wrap it around the needle, and then I'm going to take the yarn that's around my thumb, put it over the yarn that I have wrapped over the needle, and then I'm going to pull with my left hand. That is 2 stitches so far. So we're going to do 12 stitches. We're going to do 12 cast on stitches for this knitting tool, okay? You wrap the yarn around your thumb, and you put the knitting needle that you're holding with your right hand right in the center where your thumb is at, and then you're going to take the body of the yarn that's connected to this ball. You're going to wrap it around, and the yarn that's around your thumb, you're going to put it over the yarn you wrapped around, and then you're going to pull down like that, okay? So we're going to continue that until we have 12 cast on stitches. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is my 12 cast on stitches, and this is exactly what it should look like. Don't worry about these bumps here. This is the start of your cast on stitches. And I know it's gonna look funny, but once you start continuing your work, it's gonna look just fine, okay? And now we're gonna get into the knitting part of this lesson. So you're gonna take your other part of your knitting tool, gonna push the yarn up a little bit so it'll be closer to the edge but not too far. You see where it's like this is very slight, it's very like this roundabout part here. I always keep my yarn right there. I don't want to like push it too far out where it can like slip like in your cast on come off, but I want to like right where it's like, imagine this is a pencil, right? You see how the pencil is designed where it's like the very beginning of like the brown part and the lead. This is the lead and this is like the brown part. Imagine that. I have it right underneath where the brown part starts, if that helped in any way. So now what I do is I take my other part of my knitting needle, I put my knitting needle that's in my right hand. You see like these openings here? It's like an opening where you can just push your yarn through and it's going to look like an X, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the body of your yarn, you're going to wrap it around the two, I could say in between these two. You're going to wrap around the body of your yarn and put it in between the two needles, and then you're going to pull your needle that's in your right hand down, and then you're going to pull up. That is exactly how you knit, okay? I'm going to do it until we complete all of these cast on stitches, okay? So you're going to do it again. Put the knitting needle through the cast on stitch. You're going to wrap around your yarn, put it in between the two needle stitches, well, the two needles, and then you're going to pull down and then pull up, just like that, okay? Put it in between the yarn of your cast on and then look like an X. You're going to wrap around your yarn, put it in between the two needles, pull down, and then pull up. That's exactly how you knit, okay? Very simple. And once you get the flow of it, you can move faster if you like to. But I advise to take your time, because I know with starting off with knitting, it can be very like wonky looking, but you're going to get the nice flow of it in the end once you keep practicing and things like that. Okay, we're at our last cast on stitch, and voila. So this is what it looks like for the very first row. Now, as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like these loops like at the very, very bottom. Now, if I continue this style, it's gonna be like this is gonna be like a garter stitch, and instead of like stockinette stitch. So it's garter stitch and stockinette stitch that's very, very popular. You can either do the two, but we're gonna stick with like we're just gonna stick with the knitting stitch for today. Now, as you can see on this other side, this is called a purl, and on the side that I showed in the beginning, this is called knit. So it's knit, and then purl. So if we was to continue with the knitting, we're gonna continue with the purl side, and once we continue going down the line of continue knitting, this is going to be called a garter stitch. So we're going to do a few more rows, and I'm going to and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Remember, put your knitting needle through the yarn. It's going to look like an X. Wrap it around, put it in between the two needles, pull down, and then pull up. Alright guys, so this is the finished look of the knitting. Now this style knitting is called garter stitch. As you can see here, it's like a pretty cool looking stitch in full detail. Now this is just only knitting, okay? Now if you was to purl, it would just look like a stockinette stitch, and that's what we'll be doing in my next video. Okay, so this is called a garter stitch, and I love this so much. Alright guys, so this is the final look, and this style of knitting is called garter stitch. This is a very popular stitch, but I feel like this stitch is very slept on. Everybody's doing like the stockinette stitch, and we're going to do that in my next video, but I wanted to keep it simple and to the point, and the garter stitch is like an original stitch, and it's very beautiful, and it's very beautiful with scarf or like an overhead sweater. Even a cardigan would be really pretty with this style. So yeah guys, I hope you learned something new today. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to turn on your post notifications to know every time I post my new video. Okay, so this is part 1 of the knitting series, and I'm so excited about it. So yes guys, I will see you in my next one.